Being a rescuer is an honorable mission, but it's not just people that need saving, sometimes it's machines. Some of these twisted heaps of metal were once tanks or infantry fighting vehicles. And yes, they can still be brought back to life. Even captured T-72s are too valuable to leave rusting in a field. Oh, got it out! To pull vehicles out of the fire or out of the mud, you call in the Bergepanzer II, a German armored recovery vehicle built on the Leopard 1 tank chassis. This is a Bergepanzer II Wisent modification. It's pulled out plenty of damaged vehicles, self-propelled artillery, APCs, even tanks. This thing is seriously capable. Think of it as a giant multi-tool on tracks. According to the manufacturer, this particular variant can tow a Leopard 2 tank, even though those beasts weigh between 55 and 66.5 tons. That's what it's made for. But how does a vehicle that's clearly lighter than a tank manage to tow one out of a bad spot? Looks like the Germans pulled off another quiet little engineering miracle. Get comfortable. This gets interesting. This isn't some junk left over from the 60s or 70s like you might expect. This machine was made in 2011. I wouldn't call it outdated. In fact, the first Bergepanzer IIs, or BPZ-2, date back to the late 1960s. Old footage shows their original role clearly: battlefield recovery. But the Wisent 1 variant of the Bergepanzer II is a joint development between Germany's Flensburger Fahrzeugbau and the Danish military. The UK also contributed with integrated specialized equipment. You'll see that too. So yeah, it's not just the Germans who know how to play with tanks. The machine works great, no complaints so far. Let's talk technical specs. The Wisent 1 variant has a more powerful engine than a standard Bergepanzer II, 960 horsepower versus 830, and that extra power makes a difference. When we're pulling out a tank, the engine doesn't even feel it. The RPMs barely change. Second, all Wisent 1 models received enhanced mine and armor protection. The hull can withstand the detonation of a 10-kilogram TNT anti-tank mine under its tracks or belly. Its V-shaped hull deflects blast energy, minimizing harm to the crew. As for armor, the Wisent 1 can take a 155mm high explosive shell at a distance of 25 meters. It also reliably stops 25mm APDST armor-piercing rounds at 500 meters and 14.5 by 114mm armor-piercing rounds at 200 meters. And if the distance is greater, Wisent 1 can survive even heavier fire. These drone operators lived because a Russian anti-tank missile hit the side of a German armored vehicle instead. But the real standout feature of the Wisent variants is their modularity. They can operate not just as ARVs, armored recovery vehicles, but also as armored engineer vehicles, with an excavator arm and a 1.3 cubic meter bucket. Add the British-made root opening mine plow module, and Wisent transforms into a giant metal scarab, digging up buried mines to clear safe paths. This version is known as Wisent 1 MC, mine clearing. Some might say it looks like a fancy gardening tool, but to us it's the brutal and most futuristic version of the Bergepanzer II. Smash that like button if you agree. It'll also help YouTube's algorithm show this video to more people. The one currently in Ukrainian service is the AEV, Armored Engineer Vehicle variant, which brings even more power to the table. Firsthand, its crane can lift up to 30 tons. That's enough to remove a Leopard 2 turret or extract a tank engine. Second is the main winch can handle 50 tons, but if you run the cable through a pulley block, it can pull up to 100 tons. So if a tank's stuck in a swamp, no problem, we'll get it out. That pulley block setup, a block and tackle system with a roller inside, basically doubles the pulling capacity. Simple but reliable. And if the rescued tank can't move on its own, Wisent can tow it back to base with a solid bar hitch. When we tow with a rigid coupling, the towed vehicle follows right behind like a trailer. The bar is made of thick metal pipes arranged in a triangle. Here's another sign this machine is no joke. Everything's electronic. The crane beam, the front winch, even the dozer blade. That blade, up front, can clear obstacles or dig, but it also works as a ground anchor to stabilize the Wisent during crane or winch operations. We mostly use the blade as a support when working the front winch. Again, simple, effective, and here's the kicker. Wisent can even pull itself out of trouble, like Baron Munchausen, who, coincidentally, was also German. Along with modern Wisent ones, Ukraine is also receiving older Bergepanzer IIs, produced up until 1978. It's unclear how many of each variant Ukraine has, since publicly they're all labeled the same. But look how well this one's held up. So how do we tell a Wisent one from a regular Bergepanzer II? It's like spotting the difference between two BMW X5s with the same color, wheels, engines, and year, but one costs twice as much. Made in Germany, baby. But for our subscribers, we're ready to dig deep. So if you haven't already, hit subscribe. It's time for a visual comparison. Then we'll crack open the specs and take a look inside. All Wisent 1 variants, whether mine-clearing, armored engineer vehicle, or armored personnel carrier, are taller due to the roof-mounted electronics. These machines have modern sensors and onboard systems, and everything's displayed on LCD screens. Older Bergepanzer IIs, by contrast, have a lower profile. No cameras, no sensors or thermal optics outside, no displays inside. And the Bergepanzer II weighs 40 tons. This Wisent weighs 54 tons. A 14-ton difference, that's significant. The Bergepanzer II uses standard Leopard 1 armor, which is lighter. It's not enough for modern threats, so Ukrainian crews often reinforce it with Contact 1 ERA, EW systems, and slat armor. That adds about 2.7 tons, but it's still manageable. Other key differences: Bergepanzer II has a smaller dozer blade, a 20-ton crane, 10 tons less than Wisent, and a winch with max pull strength around 60 tons. So yes, the Bergepanzer II falls short in every category. But is there something even better than the Wisent? Yes. Meet the Bergepanzer III Buffel. And you guessed it, it's built on the Leopard 2 chassis. Bergepanzer III entered service in the 1990s, meant to support Bundeswehr units and Leopard 2 or PZH 2000 operators around the world. Ukraine, now one of the biggest operators of German tanks and SPGs, received some Buffels too, but only a few. How they've performed in combat? Still unclear. We do know the tech specs. The Buffel is over 9 meters long, powered by a 1,500 horsepower engine. Its crane can lift up to 30 tons, and the main winch can pull up to 105 tons. Its total weight, over 54 tons, earning it a spot among the heaviest ARVs in the world. But not the heaviest. In February 2023, Ukraine received several American M88A2 Hercules ARVs. Based on the M48, M60 tank components, these have been around since the 1960s, but with several upgrades since. The American Hercules comes loaded: welding, cutting, towing, and full repair gear, all packed inside. Its hydraulic crane lifts up to 31 tons. The main winch has a direct pull strength of 70 tons, and with pulley blocks, that nearly doubles. Hercules is the Jim Bro of recovery vehicles, and this Jim Bro is holding a 50 caliber machine gun and wearing extra armor on its front and sides. Hercules was built to service main battle tanks like the M1A2 Abrams. No other ARV can handle that beast. So why do we keep talking about crane lift and max winch pull? Because before the war, Ukraine relied on leftover Soviet equipment. The Ukrainian army still operates several ARV types: Brem 1 and BTS-5B based on the T-72B, Brem 2 and Brem Ch on BMP-1 chassis, plus BTS-4 and the Zuber based on the T-55. The armored recovery vehicle Brem 1 was designed to support units equipped with T-64, T-72, T-80 tanks, and their variants. The base version, which is still in service with the Ukrainian Armed Forces, was adopted way back in 1975, but that's not even the oldest one. Meet the BTS-4, the undisputed champ of age, brute force, and honestly, style, despite sounding like a K-pop band. If only that big pipe on top actually fired something, it'd be the largest caliber of this war. But no, of course not. The BTS-4 was built in 1965 based on the chassis of the T-44M tank. Later versions got the chassis from the T-54 and even from a missile tank. Yes, the USSR built those too. The IT-1 Dragon. But that big pipe on top of the BTS-4 isn't a gun. It's a snorkel for fording water obstacles up to 2 meters deep. It even has ladders not just outside, but inside as well, so the crew has a way to evacuate. However, it's unlikely that the BTS-4 still in Ukrainian service are actually swim capable. That's why most photos show them without the snorkel attached. Either way, this old workhorse can still tow a 40-ton tank. The rarest recovery vehicle in Ukraine's army is the Brem 4, based on the BTR-4 APC chassis. Its engine puts out only 500 horsepower, its crane can lift up to 3 tons, and its winches have a pulling force of up to 6.8 tons. Clearly, this machine isn't dragging any tanks off the battlefield. Because of the chronic shortage of proper recovery vehicles, it often falls on other tanks to recover damaged ones. The main goal is to at least drag a damaged tank to the nearest road, where it can be loaded onto a heavy transport platform and taken to a repair facility. But these Soviet-built ARVs can't handle the heavy Western tanks Ukraine now fields. They simply don't have the weight or power to pull them out. To properly operate Western armor, Ukraine urgently needs Western ARVs, but there aren't enough. Can you just turn a tank into an ARV? Remove the turret, slap on a crane, done? Not quite. Converting a tank into a recovery vehicle is a full reconstruction. Losing the turret lightens the load, but mounting a crane shifts the center of gravity, which demands fresh engineering. Integrating gear from other platforms also means reworking the base design. Winches, cranes, dozer blades, welders, all of it is heavy and powerful. You need autonomous hydraulic and electric systems, and to power them, you might need to rework the tank's entire powertrain. Most ARVs may look like tanks, but underneath, there's something else entirely. Now tell us in the comments, how would you protect an ARV from drones carrying shaped charges? What do you think works better? A machine gun, jamming system, or maybe a barbecue grill? Or drop your ideas for the next topic and we'll choose from the most liked ones.